Hi, Dar here from Dar's Divine Connections, where we make life-changing connections and transformation. Today I'm here to talk about shadow work. I know it kind of has a bad rap, doesn't it? But really looking at shadow work as being a systematic strategy really will help with our understanding of it. So we're going to have some techniques and then a few tools to use today. So I'm pretty excited about this topic. The term originally came from Carl Jung in the early 1900s, so it's that old, and it was about delving into your wounds or delving into like the unlovable side of your life. So today's purpose of doing shadow work is shedding light on the known and unknown blocks and beliefs that we might be holding on to, that we might be carrying, and it's holding us back from total fulfillment, honestly. So the first technique is to actually recognize the emotion or the feeling when it comes up in you. So what does that feel like when you're thinking you're unworthy or not good enough? What does that actually feel like in your body? Where do you feel that? Do you feel it in your stomach? Do you feel it like weighted down on your shoulders? Where do you individually feel and recognize when you're thinking that you're not good enough or you're not living up to who you need to be? Try not to label it as good or bad. Just ask, what or why do I feel that way? What caused me to feel that way? And then wait for an answer. The second step is to identify any repeating patterns. A few real common shadow work beliefs are the thoughts that come up. I am not good enough, which I already mentioned. I am unlovable. I am not worthy. I am different. I am flawed. No one understands me. I need to take care of everyone else before I take care of myself. My feelings aren't valid. Why can't I be normal? Why can't I have a life like everyone else? And then the third step, so the first one was to recognize it. And the second was to identify when it's coming up and where it might be in your body. And the third step or technique is to actually investigate any key things that keep coming up for you. And that is actually what shadow work is. It's actually soul work. What keeps coming up from you time and time again? And no matter how much we want it to be done, we want that shadow self to just get out of there, get the heck out of there. It comes back. So investigating any patterns or themes, or looking at that, or when do we blame ourselves, the blaming game, or when do you blame others? So that's another indication. And we could use practice. We could practice the art of forgiveness. You might have, on my YouTube channel, you might have already watched the different ways that you can express forgiveness and the techniques to use for forgiveness. And here's just a quick recap of what we just talked about for shadow work. And that is recognize the emotion. identify any patterns and identify how it feels in your body. And the third was to investigate any themes, like the blame game or the guilt. So once you've used those techniques to recognize the emotional patterns and to kind of see what your shadow side might be like, we want to actually apply some techniques to work with our shadow. And one of them is journaling prompts. And you can just free write on the feeling of why. Why do I feel unworthy? Why do I feel like I'm not good enough? Why do I feel unlovable? So just ask yourself why and then just write. Don't edit, don't judge, just write it all out as to why you are feeling unworthy, why you are feeling like you're failing at this life game. How are you feeling? And just write it out. And you can keep it in your journal, or you can rip it up and burn it. It doesn't matter. The act is actually writing it out and getting it outside of you, getting the shadow up, identified, and then out without blame, without guilt. Another technique that's very similar to that is letter writing. You can write a letter to someone who you think has made you feel that way. So here you are allowed to use the blame game. You can use it to its full extent, write a very graphic, detailed, drama-filled, struggle-filled letter, and then don't send it. Again, you can burn or you can rip it up. A third tool is to meditate. So meditate on the positive aspects of life, even if they're tiny things that you're grateful for. Even if you're grateful for getting up in the morning, grateful for having food in your belly, grateful for having plants in your environment, grateful for having a pet, grateful for having good books, grateful for having lights in your room, whatever it might be. And the attitude of gratitude really helps eliminate and lift the shadows in our life. And they can be blocks, unknown or known. We mentioned that before. Express your emotions in an art form is another technique. And this can be expressing them with dance. This can be with just regular movement, expressing how you're feeling. This can be with drawing or painting or songwriting or poems, or again, it can be expression in writing. You can use colored gel pens. I enjoy colored gel pens, by the way. And so anything that will creatively express the emotions, because again, you are recognizing them, you're identifying where they are in your body, and you're acting out any themes and getting rid of blame and guilt in these activities. And then probably one of the most publicity-filled or publicized method of doing shadow work is the inner child work. You've probably heard of that before. If you've had a severe childhood trauma, I would like to recommend that you work with a specialist and work specifically on the childhood trauma being released. It does hang in your physical body as well as your emotional body. So those of you who have studied energy therapy work, you probably know that. But childhood trauma can still be living in our cells even all these years later. So be sure to find a specialist in your area. Otherwise, for regular, I don't know if any of them are regular, but anyway, for solvable, liftable, identifiable childhood wounds, the main thing is repetition. You can feel that you've peeled away some of the problems of your childhood, maybe some of the resentments, some of the feelings that come from that, from your childhood of not being worthy, not being good enough, not being maybe as good as your siblings at something. So it takes years of shadow work that to uncover each layer that's hidden. And a suggested visualization, let's just do one together. Remember that I already recommended that you see a specialist if you have deep problems in this area. But otherwise, child work can be done with a form of meditation. So if you want to just join me now in that, let's just sit comfortably with your feet on the floor and breathe in relaxation, breathe in calmness, breathe in feelings of being worthy, of being loved, and let's just breathe out any toxins, any negativity, any heaviness you might feel. So let's just do that a few times. So breathe in what you want in your life right now, how you want to feel. And breathe out how you didn't want to feel. Any overwhelm, I like to use the O breath, where you form your mouth in an O. Breathe out any overwhelm. And let's go one more time. Breathe in happiness, relaxation, calmness. Breathe out negativity and overwhelm. Now, in your imagination, without reliving all the emotions, just like we're playing a movie in our brain, let's go back to your childhood and go back to a time when you felt really, really scared or really, really vulnerable. Let it play like a movie in your mind. The fear of a young child. That was you. Now, in the current version of you, the strong, knowledgeable version of you, the version of you that have conquered so many fears in your life, approach yourself as a child and tell that scared, trembling child version of you, I am here for you. I am here for you. I love you. I love you. You are not alone. You are not alone. You did nothing wrong. You did nothing wrong. You do not deserve this. You do not deserve this. Then, with compassion and conviction, tell them that they have a wonderful life ahead of them. They have a better life than either one of you, the child or the adult, can imagine. The possibilities are before you. Next, imagine how beautiful the future will be, feeling all the joy and the wonders. Let that play inside your mind, in front of the child you and in front of the current you in this visualization. Breathe in again that feel of joy, safety, self-love, and breathe out any negativity or toxins. These were just a few different ways to approach shadow work and some tools that you can use. I hope you'll apply them in your life, and thank you so much for letting me share my truth and my experience with shadow work. If you have any questions, you can always email me at darsdivineconnections@gmail.com. I answer all of my emails personally and would love to hear from you. So until next time, blessings your way and get those shadows moving.